Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining What's New at Oracle Cloud, June's edition. With no further ado, I'd like to present today's speakers and panelists. I'm one of them. I am Violeta. I'm a program delivery specialist. I am within EMEA TCE organization. I'm based in Bucharest, and today I'm joined by a more technical colleague of mine, Alexandru, who will actually take you through the main topic, which is what's new at Oracle Cloud. Before we hit actually the presentation and the demo part, I would like to present the cloud engineers that we represent today that are here to aid and support your cloud journey. One of the points of contact that we have with Oracle, the cloud engineer, is mainly to work as a connector with different services and teams within Oracle. And they are here to help you to get more familiar with our cloud infrastructure technology. So if you do need any help from our side, don't hesitate to contact us at the email address that we have in place. With no further ado, I would like to hand over to my colleague Alexandru to actually walk you through the main topic, which is what's new at Oracle Cloud. Alex, hand over to you now.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our session today. Please give me a few moments to share my screen and get everything prepared for you. Okay, so you might be wondering what the most interesting releases in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure are in the last period of time. I'm Alex Malacu, Senior Cloud Infrastructure Specialist, and I'm here to give you that insight today. I have prepared for you 5 new releases that I will also showcase in the console. Now let's jump to our first release of this month. So the block volume service now includes an ultra-high performance level for block volumes. The ultra-high performance level is recommended for workloads with the highest I/O requirements, requesting the best possible performance, such as large databases. This option provides the best linear performance scale with 225 IOPS per gigabit, up to a maximum of 300,000 IOPS per volume. Throughput also scales at the highest rate at 1,800 kilobits per second per gigabyte, up to a maximum of 2,680 megabytes per second per volume. And now let's see how this looks in the console. We're going to navigate to block volumes. And let me simulate the creation of a new block volume. So let's give it a name. And here under volume size and performance, you see that we need to select the custom setup. And if you would like, you can move the slider and see that the block volume performance changes. So now we're on the ultra high performance setting. And as you can see, it can scale to a really high number of IOPS and a really high number of throughput. Our next topic, it's about a new ARM-based Ampere A1 compute shape with the customizable memory and OCPU count that is available in our cloud. This is related to also to virtual machines and also to bare metal instances. Ampere A1 compute, it's a general purpose ARM-based compute platform based on the Ampere Ultra processor. Ampere A1 compute instances provide the superior price performance, near linear scaling, built-in security due to the single-thread core architecture, and the broad developer ecosystem. ARM processors, ubiquitous in mobile computing, are increasingly used in PCs, laptops, and servers. ARM processors use the reduced instruction set computing on short RISC architecture, which requires less power and less silicon for each core than the x86 processors. ARM puts more cores in the CPU socket and provides more dedicated resources for each core. As a result, ARM processors provide predictable performance, provide the highest density of cores, and consume overall less power. So they're a bit more eco-friendly, I say. Ampere A1 compute is a server-side development on ARM by providing the performance, features, and the scalability required for cloud-to-edge infrastructure on ARM. Imperial A1 compute instances are suitable for a wide range of applications and use cases. For example, containerized workloads, databases, and in-memory databases, including MySQL, web applications, media encoding, AI and machine learning inferencing, mobile apps and game development, and also for high-performance computing. Now, let me show you where you can find this in the OCI console. We're going to navigate to Compute, Instance, and let's simulate the creation of a compute instance. Just bear with me. As you can see here, now we have for both virtual machine and bare metal, and an Ampere tab, where you select here the type of processor that you want to use. For the VM, as you can see here, the deployment, the selection of the resources, it's quite similar to what you're used to on the AMD shapes and also in the Intel shapes, the optimized 3-flex shape. So it's just a matter of selecting the number of OCPUs and the amount of memory that you like to use for this instance. Going back to our presentation, you can now create a clone of a file system from any of your snapshots. You can use file system clones for testing, patching, and faster application provisioning. If failed testing or patching causes the data to become unrecoverable, you can create a new clone from the original file system snapshot, delete the old one, and restart your operation. So let me tell you what a clone is. So a clone is a new file system that is created based on a snapshot of an existing file system. Snapshots preserve the state of the data of a file system at a particular point in time. If you take snapshots of a file system at regular intervals, you can create clones of the file system as it existed at multiple points in its lifetime. Now in the console, let's see how it looks. So let's navigate to file systems here. And I have already deployed a file system just for this purpose, and also a snapshot of this file system. Let's go on this snapshot as you can see, now we have here the clone button, and it's a really simple process. You just click create. And the new file system is being deployed. Of course, you'll need to create an export path, mount point, mount target, and so on, in order to make this file system accessible. The next topic, it's quite an important one because Oracle Cloud Infrastructure now provides a Bastion service. The Bastion service provides restricted and time-limited access to target resources that don't have public endpoints. So Bastions let authorized users connect from specific IP addresses to target resources by way of secure shell SSH sessions. When connected, users can interact with the target resource by using any software or protocol supported by SSH. For example, you can use the remote desktop protocol to connect to a Windows host, or use Oracle Net Services to connect to a database. Bastions are essentials in tenancies with stricter resource controls. So in the console, you'll find the Bastion service under Identity and Security, and click on Bastion. Let's simulate the creation of a new one. So I'm creating this in my compartment. I'm going to select my VCN, my subnet. Let's say I want to use it in the Bastion. And here you're going to allow the CIDR block that you want to connect from. On my side, it is a bit difficult because I have a dynamic IP and it's always changing. So let's say I'm going to simulate the whole internet here. Okay. And of course, you can add you can decide on the maximum session time to live in minutes, and you're going to create a Bastion. In order to save some time, I have this one already deployed, and I have here a session that, as you can see, was deleted. Let's create a new session. I'm going to use the OPC username, and here you can see the instances that are live, that are in an active state. You're going to select here your public key. And we're going to create the session. As you can see, the state is in creating now, and the session time to live is set for 3 hours. The parameter that I've defined, as I show you from the advanced section when deploying the Bastion. One thing that you will need to make sure of is that in instances, let's say for this one, you will need to make sure that the Oracle Cloud Agent has the Bastion feature enabled. If this is not enabled, you won't be able to use the Bastion service. Going back to our deployment, you can see here that the session should change the state into active. And we can view here the SSH command that you can run, and also a few instructions here. Where you see here the private key, you will need to add the path towards the private key that you'd like to use. Going back to our presentation, our last topic for today, it's MySQL. It's about MySQL database service. So you can now change the MySQL database system data storage to a larger size when restoring from a backup. This improvement allows expanding the original storage capacity from existing automatic or manual backups. So you can easily create a new DB system that will meet your storage requirements. So in the console, we're going to go to databases, and I'm going to click on MySQL. As you can see here, I've already created a database, and it also has a backup. Just let me navigate to backups. As you can see here, I have a backup created for that particular database. And when clicking on restore to a new DB system, you'll need to, of course, set up the parameters. How would you like this DB system to work, to be deployed in single instance, high availability, or heat wave? Here, under the configure hardware, you see that you are able to modify the data storage size. So that was pretty much it from me today. I hope that you enjoyed the session, and please post your questions in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for the presentation and for these releases, pretty good releases this month, I could say. So guys, I would like to continue our webinar today with the useful resources information. So just to wrap up for everyone in the call, there are some handy useful resources that you can use. First one is our Cloud Coaching Clinics portal, where you can go to register for any upcoming events, depending on your interest. By the way, we host events on a weekly basis, so do keep an eye on the schedule. The second resource is the Oracle Video Hub, where you're actually going to put today's recording. So if you want to rewatch it, you can go there and search for it by the QR code that we have in place. The next week event is about Oracle Cloud Cost Control and Budget Monitoring. And some other useful resources with links that Alex already mentioned, and some more on the OCI documentation side, and also the trainings that are available for you to use. And I would like to thank you all for attending this webinar, and to say a big thank you to Alex for presenting. If there is any further information that you may need from us, don't hesitate to contact us at the email address that we have in place, contact-dcx-emia_ww@oracle.com. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you, everyone, and hope to see you in the
Have a nice
July
day.
session.